My name is Emma. One night, in the cold hospital room, Nurse Lily leaned close to me and whispered, "I know your secret." Her eyes were dark, her voice sharp, and my heart almost stopped. I didn't know what she meant, but her words chased me like shadows. From that moment, nothing felt safe anymore. Every step, every sound carried fear. My sister Sarah stood beside me, but even she could not stop what was coming. Do you want to know what happened next? Let me tell you the story. Emma lay weak in her hospital bed, the white sheets tucked neatly around her. Machines beeped softly nearby, their sounds steady but cold. Sarah sat close, holding Emma's hand, trying to smile even though worry filled her eyes. The room was quiet until Nurse Lily walked in. Her steps were soft, but her eyes were sharp. She looked at Emma with a strange expression, then leaned close and whispered, "I know your secret." Emma froze, her heart racing. Sarah looked up in shock, asking, "What secret?" But Lily only gave a faint smile and walked out. The silence in the room grew heavy after Lily left. Emma gripped Sarah's hand tightly, whispering, "I don't know what she meant. I don't have any secret." Sarah tried to calm her, but she too felt uneasy. Later that night, Emma closed her eyes, trying to sleep, but every sound made her jump. Shadows seemed longer, darker. When she opened her eyes, she thought she saw Lily standing in the corner of the room, watching. She gasped, but when Sarah turned to look, the corner was empty. "It's nothing," Sarah said, but doubt filled her voice. The next morning, James arrived. His handsome face and confident smile usually brought comfort. But today Emma felt something strange. He kissed her forehead and said, "Don't worry, everything will be fine." Yet his eyes seemed restless, like they were hiding something. Sarah noticed it too. She watched him carefully as he spoke about hospital bills and work. After he left, Emma whispered, "Sarah, do you think James knows something I don't?" Sarah frowned, unsure how to answer. All she knew was that Nurse Lily's words had changed everything, and fear was slowly growing. Later that day, Sarah decided to follow James. She waited outside the hospital until he left. Instead of going home or to work, James drove quickly across town. Sarah followed carefully, her hands shaking on the wheel. He stopped at a small cafe, meeting a woman she had never seen before. They sat close, whispering and laughing like old friends. Sarah's heart sank. She snapped a photo with her phone, unsure what to think. Was this just business or something darker? She hurried back to Emma, her mind racing. "Emma, I need to show you something," she said. When Emma saw the photo, her chest tightened. "Who is she?" she whispered. Sarah shook her head, saying, "I don't know," but they looked close. Emma wanted to believe James, to trust the man she loved, but doubt now sat heavy in her heart. That night, she dreamed of Lily again. In the dream, Lily stood at the foot of her bed, pointing at James. "The truth will break you," she whispered. Emma woke up drenched in sweat, gasping for air. Sarah rushed to her side, but Emma could only repeat Lily's words again and again. The following evening, Sarah suggested they leave the hospital for a short walk. The air outside was cold, but Emma agreed. As they walked past the garden, they heard soft footsteps behind them. When they turned, no one was there. Sarah pulled Emma closer, whispering, "Let's go back." But before they reached the door, Nurse Lily appeared under the dim light. She looked pale, her smile thin. "Secrets can kill," she said, then vanished into the shadows. Emma clung to Sarah, trembling. "She's haunting me," Emma cried. Sarah held her tight, but her own fear was growing fast. Days passed, and Emma's health grew weaker. The doctors said her body needed rest, but her mind was restless. Every corner of the hospital seemed filled with Lily's presence. Sarah started digging into Lily's past, asking other nurses about her. Most avoided the subject, their faces turning pale at her name. Finally, an older nurse whispered, "Lily died years ago, in this hospital. She shouldn't be here." Sarah's blood ran cold. How could a dead nurse walk the halls, whispering secrets? She ran back to Emma, not knowing if telling her the truth would break her more. That night, Sarah tried to keep Emma calm, reading stories to her, humming softly. But Emma suddenly grabbed her arm. "She's here," she whispered. Sarah looked up, and her heart dropped. Lily was standing at the window, her pale hand pressed against the glass. "I know your secret," she said again, her voice echoing inside the room though her lips barely moved. Sarah jumped up, shouting, "Leave us alone." But Lily only smiled before fading into the night. Emma buried her face in her hands, crying. Sarah hugged her, but her own hands were shaking badly. Emma began losing trust in James. Every time he entered the room, she felt Lily's words heavy on her chest. Sarah showed him the photo, demanding answers. James grew angry, saying, "That's just a work meeting. Don't follow me again." His reaction only deepened Sarah's suspicion. After he stormed out, Emma whispered, "Sarah, what if Lily is right? What if James is hiding something terrible?" Sarah didn't want to believe it, but her gut told her Lily wasn't haunting them for no reason. The sisters clung to each other, unsure whom to trust anymore. The following night, Sarah couldn't sleep. She walked the hospital halls alone, hoping to clear her mind. The lights flickered, and suddenly she heard a soft humming. Following the sound, she reached an empty ward. There, she saw Lily sitting on a chair, brushing her long hair, her face half-shadowed. "Why are you doing this to my sister?" Sarah demanded. Lily looked up slowly, her eyes full of sorrow. "Because lies kill, and truth saves," she whispered. Sarah stepped closer, trembling. What lies? What truth? But Lily vanished, leaving the chair rocking back and forth. Sarah returned to Emma, shaken and pale. She wanted to protect her sister, but fear filled her heart. Emma looked at her, eyes wide and searching. "Did you see her again?" she asked. Sarah nodded weakly, not wanting to lie. Emma sighed heavily. "Maybe she wants me to know something. But I don't know if I'm strong enough." Sarah held her hand firmly. "You're stronger than you think." Yet deep inside, she wondered if Lily's truth might break Emma's heart completely. But there was no turning back now. The secret was crawling closer with each passing night. One evening, Emma asked Sarah to wheel her down the corridor for air. As they turned the corner, they saw James speaking quietly on the phone. His voice was sharp, his tone urgent. "No one can find out," he said. Sarah froze, listening closely. "Yes, I'll handle it. She's too weak to fight back," Emma gasped, covering her mouth. James turned suddenly, spotting them. He faked a smile, saying, "Just work, nothing serious." But his eyes betrayed him. Emma's hands shook on the wheelchair armrests. Sarah's suspicion was no longer doubt, it was almost certainty now. That night, Emma couldn't sleep again. The room felt colder than usual, the air heavy. Suddenly, the machines beeped wildly before falling silent. Darkness filled the room. Sarah jumped up, reaching for the switch, but it didn't work. In the corner, Lily appeared, her figure glowing faintly. She stepped closer, whispering, "The truth is near." Emma asked in fear, "What truth?" Lily's eyes flicked to the door. Sarah ran to it, pulling it open. For a second, she saw James standing outside, watching through the glass. But when she blinked, he was gone, like a shadow. Sarah's hands shook as she closed the door. Emma whispered, "He was there, wasn't he?" Sarah nodded, her throat tight. "Why was he watching?" Emma asked, tears streaming down her cheeks. Sarah couldn't answer. The sisters stayed awake the whole night, holding each other, waiting for dawn. But even as the sun rose, fear didn't leave. James returned later, smiling as if nothing had happened. "You both look tired," he said. Sarah glared at him, thinking of Lily's warning. She no longer saw James as the loving man he pretended to be. Emma and Sarah pressed against the wall as Lily's shadow stretched longer. The lights buzzed, then went out completely, leaving only the faint glow of the moon through the window. Emma clutched Sarah's hand. "Why is she after me?" she whispered, barely breathing. Suddenly, a whisper filled the room. "Because you promised me," Sarah shouted. "She never promised you anything." But Lily appeared, her face pale, her eyes filled with sorrow. "She promised to tell the truth," Lily said, pointing directly at Emma. The sisters froze, unsure whether to run or listen. Emma shook her head violently. "I don't know what truth you mean," she cried. Lily moved closer, her steps soundless. Sarah grabbed a chair, holding it in front like a shield. But Lily ignored her. She leaned closer to Emma and whispered, "James is not the man you think he is. He has done something you cannot forgive." Emma's heart pounded, her throat dry. She tried to speak, but Lily disappeared once again, leaving only the words echoing in the room. Sarah threw the chair down, angry and confused. "We need answers, not riddles," she shouted. The next day, Sarah followed James secretly again. This time she saw him leave the hospital and drive quickly to an abandoned house at the edge of town. She hurried back to tell Emma, and together they decided to go. Weak but determined, Emma wrapped herself in a coat, and Sarah supported her. When they reached the house, the windows were broken and the door creaked open. Inside, They found photographs pinned to the walls, pictures of Emma, Sarah, and even their parents. At the center, there was Lily's picture, circled in red. Emma gasped loudly. Suddenly, footsteps echoed behind them. James entered, carrying a flashlight. "You shouldn't have come here," he said, his voice cold and hard. Emma asked, trembling, "Why do you have all these pictures?" "Why, Lily?" James looked at the wall, his jaw tight. "Because she knew too much. And now, so do you?" Sarah grabbed Emma's arm, pulling her toward the door. But James blocked the way. Just then, the air turned icy, and Lily appeared between them, her figure glowing faintly. "Your lies end tonight," she said firmly, her voice filling the house. James shouted, "Stay away." But Lily raised her hand, and the flashlight in his grip shattered. The house shook as if the walls themselves were alive. Emma cried out, "Please, just tell us the truth." James's face twisted with rage. "Fine," he shouted. "I was the one who caused her death. Lily found out about my secret business, and I made sure she never spoke again." Emma collapsed, unable to breathe. Sarah screamed at him, "You killed her." James grabbed Emma's arm, but Lily's shadow wrapped around him, pulling him back violently into the darkness. The room grew silent. James was gone, swallowed by the shadows. Emma sobbed into Sarah's arms, shaking from head to toe. Lily stood by the window, her eyes softer now. "The truth is spoken," she whispered. She touched Emma's hand gently, and for the first time, Emma felt peace instead of fear. Slowly, Lily's figure faded into the light of the rising sun. Emma whispered, "Thank you," as the house fell still. Sarah guided her outside, both sisters knowing life would never be the same. Behind them, the house stood silent, guarding its final secret. This was the story of secrets, shadows, and truth. If you felt the fear and mystery with Emma and Sarah, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe for more powerful English stories. Each story here is not just for listening, it is for learning, feeling, and living English. Stay with us for more.